Part 122. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1216. Everyone, move forward quickly, we will soon reach the Yanlong tribe, Li Ya shouted at the top of his lungs. Since he was already close to the Yanlong tribe, he no longer needed to be sent out to collect intelligence, not to mention that his men would also do this. So his main job these days is to guide the tribe. People are moving forward. After all, this migration is for the entire tribe. If the sharp teeth are not careful, it is easy to fall behind and cause accidents. Tap tap tap. The villagers of the Dark Scorpion tribe were already suffering terribly, and each of them looked very tired. Some of them were even scarred, and quite a few were missing arms and legs. The number of people was also reduced by more than half compared to when they first set out. Originally, when the Dark Scorpion tribe set out, the number of people was around 6,000, but half a month has passed now, and there are only more than 2,000 people left. You can imagine how many dangers you will encounter along the way. Either you are eaten by a ferocious beast, you are injured and die from tetanus, or you are left behind and disappear. In short, the entire tribe is now in panic, and they are even unwilling to leave. The job that Sharptooth has to do is to spur them forward quickly. After all, these people are their best human shields. Although they are a burden, I have to take them with me. Wu Chenshao turned back and looked at the group of people. Several times, he wanted to abandon this group of people directly, and then recruit some people to form a stronger tribe. But if there weren't too many dangers in the forest, Wu Chenshao has already done this. Wu, we arrived soon, and we have about 2 days to reach the Yanlong tribe. Fortunately, with their group here, our warriors' strength can be preserved until now, otherwise it would have been almost exhausted long ago. Fanya turned back to look at the warriors of the tribe and found that their energy and spirit were still quite good. If he hadn't brought the ordinary people from the tribe with him this time, I'm afraid the warriors would have been distracted to fight. Those ferocious beasts. The ferocious beasts appeared very frequently some time ago. As soon as those ferocious beasts appeared, the totem warriors would flee forward immediately. This operation certainly annoyed those ordinary people, but they also had what can be done. Everyone is being expelled and moving forward. In addition, they know that if they fall behind and leave now, they will only die. Thinking that there may be a way to survive with so many people together now, but it is still a hope. It was just a fluke, thinking that there were so many people from those ferocious beasts that they wouldn't be able to eat me. Did someone go to the front to investigate? To avoid being attacked by people from the Yanlong tribe, Wu Chenshao asked. There is always a troop exploring in front, and they are about half a day away from us. If something happens to them, we will definitely have enough time to deal with it, Fang Ya said immediately. He is also an old fox, and he must have known that he might be attacked by a sneak attack. He had already sent an elite force to explore in front. He thought that even if there was a sneak attack, there would be survivors who would leave and report back. Give it to them. With the strength and number of their tribe, the Dark Scorpion tribe can adjust its response measures at any time. It took us so long, this tribe must be captured no matter what. Wu Chenshao had already begun to want to drink in his heart. I heard that their tribe has a lot of stored goods. As long as we succeed, we will celebrate for several days. Ha 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 ha. His laughter was so loud that it lingered in the forest, forming a sharp contrast with the plaintive expressions of the ordinary people behind him. Those ordinary people were ordered not to get too close to them, and the distance in between was only about 1 kilometer. The reason for this is to protect Wu Chenshao and the others. After all, there are exploration troops in front and ordinary people in the back. They are undoubtedly safer in the middle. The heavy snow and ice has just ended not long ago, and their tribe should be celebrating the new year. This is the best time for us to attack. Fang Ya can't wait for a long time. He is also a drunkard. He didn't drink much last time. Most of the wine was taken by Wu Chenxiao. Fang Fang can be said to be angry but dare not speak out. I thought I could only wait to take down the Yanlong tribe and drink enough at once. Are you sure their people don't know we're moving forward? Wu Chenxiao turned around and glanced behind him again. There was a large crowd of people behind him. It was very eye-catching for so many people to advance in the forest. Their main focus this time was sneak attacks. If they knew it, then this plan will not work anymore. Don't worry, Wu. Our tribe's information collection ability can be said to be the fastest on this continent. Other tribes are definitely not as fast as us in collecting information. The information our tribe has temporarily received is that they are unaware of it. Venomous Fang continued with a face of assurance, even if they knew it, they wouldn't be able to fight against us. With their numbers and strength, we would have the upper hand. His expression at the moment is really extremely proud, but this is all because of the confidence that Sharpya gives him. After all, Sharpya is the leader of the Dark Scorpion tribe's intelligence gathering team. This team has collected so far the intelligence there is no mistake. This is why Fanya is so confident. With the current 100% winning rate, of course he believes in the intelligence collected by Fanya. Judging from your anxious look, you are most likely thinking of occupying a few young girls again, right? Wu Chenxiao asked teasingly. Venomous Fang has many wives in the Dark Scorpion tribe, and there are more than 20 wives in total. He is also a passionate prodigal. Whenever he sees a more beautiful woman, everyone will take it as his own, as long as the other person is of the right age. Therefore, Venomous Fang's lustful character is well known in the entire Dark Scorpion tribe. I heard that all the women in the Yanlong tribe are very beautiful. Wouldn't it be a waste if I took good care of them? Fang Fang smiled particularly sinisterly. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you can win the Flame Dragon tribe, you can play with as many as you want. Wu Chenxiao is not too interested in this aspect. Just a few suitable ones are enough. What he wants most in his heart is to drink wine and eat those canned food. Wu, we have to keep a few alive this time, and we must let them help us make wine. Fanja also thought about wine. Previously, he asked the team to find out how the wine was brewed, but nothing happened. It is said that only some people from the Yanlong tribe knew about it, but Fanja had always kept this matter in mind. This is natural. Wu Chenxiao has already planned it. Please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1217. Yanhua led the warriors to fly high in the sky on the peak eagle, followed by a group of gray-feathered giant birds. They were originally intended to be used as transportation, but before that they could only be used for warfare. This was their first collective flight, although they had practiced manned flights many times before. But they have never tried manning a war, and this time is their best practice. Yanhua turned around and made a gesture to the back that attracted everyone's attention, and then continued to focus on the front. She is the commander of the air strike force and is fully responsible for the bombing plan. Mainly, this was what the Horn Girl requested, so this scene happened. Subai had no choice but to keep an eye on the other person and be careful. Pu-chi, Pu-chi. The sound of flapping wings continued to sound, and more than a dozen giant gray-feathered birds formed a V-shaped formation. They all fly very high to prevent people on the ground from discovering them. Ah Brown, the future of the tribe lies with us, and we can't make mistakes this time no matter what. Yanhua patted Feng Ying's body. It can be said that she has been waiting for today for a long time. In order to be a good leader this time, Niajiao Niang trained for a long time every day. Sometimes I have been training at night, in order to be able to lead the formation well this time, and also to be able to remain calm during the bombing. After all the explosive packets are projected, the power of the explosion will be considerable. Big ones. If the evacuation is not timely, not only the ferocious beasts but also people will be affected, and even if they survive, they will be burned over a large area. So Yanhua trains every day by riding a peak eagle and starting to practice rapid descents and rapid ascents. The purpose of falling rapidly is to quickly project the explosive package in your hand, and to rise quickly is to evacuate quickly when the explosive package explodes. Feng Ying flapped his wings and screamed in response. It can be said that he has worked hard for today for a long time. Yanhua took out her binoculars and looked in the distance. She saw the people of the Dark Scorpion tribe at a glance. The other totem warriors behind them also took out their telescopes and watched. Now they are waiting for the people from the Dark Scorpion tribe to enter the explosion range. Soldiers, we are only allowed to succeed this time and not fail. We must not be too hasty in following my instructions, Yanhua shouted loudly with her left hand raised high. The distance between them is high in the sky, and they are also very far away from the Dark Scorpion tribe, so they can't hear their conversation at all, let alone see it with the naked eye. Unless the people of the Dark Scorpion tribe have telescopes, or their eyesight is really clairvoyant, it would be impossible to see Yanhua and others far up in the sky. Clear Ai, Cheng Shi, and others all responded in unison. Many people participating in the aerial bombing plan this time have wings because they have adapted to high altitudes. So even if they are allowed to fly at high altitudes on ferocious beasts, I won't be afraid of it, and I can handle any rapid descent or ascent very well. If the people involved in the aerial bombing this time are not particularly familiar with flying to high altitudes, they will easily make mistakes. For example, some people will suddenly vomit, or be afraid of heights and make some wrong judgments. These are all factors that are unfavorable to the aerial bombing plan, so it is natural to give priority to those who have wings and are adaptable to high altitudes to carry out this plan. Of course. Yanhua, needless to say, Feng Ying has been following Niujiao Niang for a long time, and she has already adapted to being in the air. Tap tap tap. At this moment, Wu Chenxiao didn't know that someone was waiting for him above him, so he still kept the team moving forward quickly with great expectation. Because there was only one day left before the Yanlong tribe, if they worked harder, they would be very close to the Yanlong tribe before dark. Then they can order the soldiers to quickly adjust and launch a surprise attack on the Yanlong tribe. All this information was sent back to the Yanlong tribe by Madara at the risk of his life. It was because of this information that Subai could take adequate countermeasures. Wu, the vanguard troops have arrived near the Yanlong tribe. They said they didn't find any problems and we can move forward with peace of mind. Li Ye ran up with a flattering look on his face. He was now happily waiting to see what kind of reward he would get after taking over the Yanlong tribe. Are you sure there's no ambush or anything wrong? Wu Chenxiao asked. After all, he has experienced hundreds of battles, so naturally he has to be extra careful about everything. Sometimes the less problems ahead, the more careful you have to be, because it is very likely that this is a plan of the enemy. Don't worry, Wu. The advance troops have been at the front for more than a day and haven't found any abnormalities in the Yanlong tribe. You can rest assured on this, Li Ya immediately explained. If the advance troops hadn't stayed in front for so long, they might not have dared to get so close to the Yanlong tribe. Order to go down and get all the people in the tribe ready. As soon as we meet the team in front tonight, we will launch an attack, Wu Chenxiao ordered excitedly. He was already looking forward to sleeping in the big stone house of the Yanlong tribe tonight, and he also had to drink a lot of wine to do so. Yes, Li Ya was also very excited. Tap tap tap. The Dark Scorpion tribe's advance suddenly became faster, and everyone was as excited as if they had been given a shot of blood. But those ordinary people feel a little disappointed at this moment, because war is not a good thing for them at all. And if anything happens, they might just be a shield for others. Of course, some people are still looking forward to it, because once the war starts, it means settling down, and they don't have to keep running around like this. Puchi, Puchi. Yanhua was observing everything in the distance with a telescope. Although she couldn't hear their conversation, she could probably guess what it was about. Because the advance troops of the Dark Scorpion tribe, who were close to the Yanlong tribe, had long been discovered, but Subai ordered everyone to ignore them, because this would alert the enemy. Otherwise, how could they stay so close to the Yanlong tribe, safe and sound, and for a full day? The purpose of this is to make the team behind relax, and then let them all walk into the place where the explosive packs are buried. It will be over soon. The corners of Yanhua's mouth rose slightly. Please support and customize. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1218. Yanhua raised her right hand high and remained motionless, while the other hand was holding a telescope and looking ahead. She didn't even dare to breathe too loudly at this moment, and her entire concentration collapsed into a single line. There was no other reason, because the people of the Dark Scorpion tribe began to slowly approach the marked place. In addition to ordinary people, the entire team has already reached half of its ranks with totem warriors and reserve warriors. They were moving very fast. It was already dusk and the sky was getting darker. Not yet, just have to wait a little longer, Yanhua muttered to herself nervously. All her attention was focused on the Dark Scorpion tribe on the ground, and she didn't even dare to blink quickly for fear of missing some important information. The Horned Lady is now waiting for the hole when a team enters. This is the only way to signal the people on the ground to start detonating explosives. Then I can also lead the aerial bombardment team to attack, which is naturally very nervous. The people behind are going faster, and faster. Yanhua bit her lower lip tightly and said to herself, the people in front are almost at the cordon. People behind, you should hurry up. The entire team of warriors from the Dark Scorpion tribe were spread out very widely and did not gather very close together. Fortunately, the location where the Yanlong tribe buried the explosive packs was relatively long and wide, so the people in the Dark Scorpion tribe were scattered relatively sparsely. Not afraid. But now Niojiao Niang is worried that the reserve soldiers walking in front have almost reached the cordon. That is to say, they are about to walk out of the place where the explosive packs are buried. If they go out, the explosive packs on the ground will not be able to explode. People. But it cannot be detonated in advance, because the people in front are just preparation warriors. If the package is exploded at this time, the totem warriors behind will quickly escape from the dangerous area. This is why Yanhua is very nervous at the moment. It felt like the palms of her hands were already sweating. The Horn Girl's other raised hand never stopped, just waiting for the warriors of the Dark Scorpion tribe to step into the explosion range. The warriors behind Yanhua did not dare to act rashly, and they were all nervously holding the telescope and looking at the target. Tap tap tap. At this moment, Wu Chenshao didn't know that someone was watching him from the sky or around him. He only knew that he would soon launch a surprise attack on the Yanlong tribe. The corners of his mouth were now raised very high, and he was already thinking about how much wine he would drink to celebrate tonight. They moved forward very briskly, as if they thought they would win this war. Wu Chenshao and Feng Yang slowly walked into the encirclement with the totem warriors, until the last warrior stepped in, when the preliminary warriors in front were just preparing their range. The girl's right hand was already clenched into a fist when Yanhua was high up in the sky, and then Qinshi immediately blew the horn. Woo woo woo. Loud horn sounds continued to sound in the air. This sound instantly attracted the attention of the Dark Scorpion tribe people on the ground, and also attracted the warriors of the Yanlong tribe who were ambushing around them. Ignition, Kangxi shouted in a hidden corner. All the warriors hidden in the tribe lit the fuse, and everyone operated in an instant. Zilla zilla. The sound of the fuse burning rapidly continued to sound, and the people of the Dark Scorpion tribe did not know what was happening at this moment. But they only knew something was wrong, and they also knew that someone was watching them around. If there is an enemy attack, everyone goes back to back and pay attention to the people in the forest on both sides. Fang Yat also reacted quickly and ordered. The sound of horns in the sky and the shouts from the surrounding forest made him alert instantly. Although he didn't know what would happen later, it was right to let the soldiers back to back. Fang thought so. I knew it wouldn't go so smoothly, but it's okay to start a war at this time. Wu Chenxiao had a gloomy face. He originally thought that things would not go so smoothly, but it has already reached this point and is about to reach the Yanlong tribe. Even if the other party launches a sneak attack, he is not worried. What an underestimation. Bang bang bang. Ah! Before Venomous Fang could say anything, he was interrupted by bursts of explosions, followed by the screams of the soldiers. Ah! My legs, why are my legs gone? Ah! It hurts. What's this? Is it the witchcraft of the Yanlong tribe? Us. Save. Come on, save me. Sounds like this continued to sound, and various screams and bewildered sounds were mixed together, making the scene look very chaotic. Some people were killed without even knowing what happened, while others were killed mid-sentence before they could react. In an instant, the entire forest was filled with gunpowder smoke. The originally calm forest was suddenly shrouded in smoke, and the strong smell of gunpowder and blood continued to circulate in the air. The scene is shocking and terrifying. Most of the Yanlong tribe's explosives are buried here, and they are purchased so densely that even if you want to hide, you don't know where to hide. What's more, the people in the Dark Scorpion tribe don't know what happened. Even if they want to leave, they don't know what to do. Aerial bombardment team for me. Yanhua waved her hand and rode the Peak Eagle first and began to descend rapidly. Air, Chinchi and other teammates also immediately controlled the gray feather giant bird to descend at a rapid speed and followed. They were about to start the final harvest, because the ground just now after a round of bombing, there were still many survivors. Wu Chenxiao was very unlucky. He was standing directly above an explosive pack. So before he could say anything, his whole body was already the explosive bag was blown to pieces. He may not know how he died until his death, but it's okay not to know. After all, the appearance of death is very ugly, and it is impossible to piece together a complete body. Venomous Fangs, he was lucky, but his legs were blown off, and he was lying on the ground howling at the moment. Of course, he didn't know what happened, he only knew that it all happened so suddenly. Venomous Fang's ears could not hear it because of the violent explosion. No, he looked around with difficulty and saw only corpses and gunpowder smoke everywhere. Then he only saw many people opening their mouths, but Venomous Fang couldn't hear what they were shouting, but it didn't matter if he could hear it, anyway. Going back and forth is just calling for help, isn't it? Boom boom boom. Yanhua led the bombing team to conduct a new round of bombing, falling rapidly and then rising rapidly. The results they showed today were the same as during training. Every explosive was placed in a crowded place. As explosions rang out one after another, the screams were slowly drowned out until there was no sound at all. Please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1219. The blood-red sunset was gradually fading, corpses were everywhere in the forest, and gunpowder smoke filled the entire forest. Yanhua got off Feng Ying's back. She frowned and glanced around. The surrounding air was filled with the strong smell of blood. She subconsciously covered her mouth and nose and led the soldiers to search the surrounding area to see if there were any survivors. Don't leave anyone alive, kill them all. Kang Shi also led the soldiers out of the forest. They were far away from the body, so the explosion did not affect them at all. At most, there was thick smoke everywhere. Uncle Kangxi, are you all okay? Yanhua walked over and asked. Niojiao Niang felt a little sick at the moment, mainly because she had never seen such a big scene of war, and there were corpses everywhere. The rich smell of blood was very pungent, and it made her feel uncomfortable. People can't help but want to vomit after smelling it, and the smell of gunpowder is also very strong. The combination of these smells is the most uncomfortable. It's okay, we are doing very well. If it weren't for your support, Ahwa, I'm afraid we wouldn't be able to win so quickly. Kangxi laughed heartily. He really felt that the victory was so smooth. He didn't dare to think about it before. He originally thought that he would have to fight hard no matter what. Finally, he had a lot of very good weapons before. As well as powerful weapons, Kangxi didn't dare to think that he would win so smoothly. He could only admire Subai in his heart. With Wu's leadership, everything became extremely smooth. Mainly because of Uncle Kangxi's good judgment. If not for Uncle's timely order for everyone to light the fuse, I'm afraid we would still have to fight hard. Yanhua scanned the surrounding environment. She saw corpses everywhere and red blood everywhere. The scene was really disgusting. There should be no survivors left, and even a powerful soldier would have no choice but to admit defeat in the face of explosives. Kangxi patted the dust on his hands. At this moment, the warriors of the Yanlong tribe were holding recurve bows to check whether there were still alive people. Once they found anyone still breathing, they would kill them with one arrow. And those corpses, the intact ones, will also be patched up, just in case some people are pretending to be dead. As for some corpses that are so rotten that they don't look like humans, they will be ignored. Bring those ordinary people back to the tribe. Yanhua looked at the people not far away. They were all ordinary people from the Dark Scorpion tribe, most of them young men and women. As for the older ones, they had died on the way to the Yanlong tribe. They were not physically strong. Fortunately, they couldn't run fast at all, so they had to be dragged when they encountered ferocious beasts. There were only about 2,000 people left, and they looked very scared at the moment. Most of them were huddled together and shivering. Some people didn't even know what was happening. They were all frightened by the violent explosion. Some people were even so frightened that they wet their pants on the spot, and some timid people fainted. Although it was not affected by this violent explosion, but it was not too far away and there was still a slight vibration, and those huge sounds made people feel extremely uncomfortable. Finally, there was the scene where a large group of people from the Yanlong tribe appeared. People appearing quickly from the forest, and people riding fierce beasts falling from the sky, are also things that scare ordinary people. They had no choice, but they must have become disillusioned with the Dark Scorpion tribe. After all, this tribe was so inhumane. Of course Kangxi was talking about them being used as human shields. No matter how loyal a tribe is, being used as a shield to escape must be very uncomfortable. Especially now that they have narrowly escaped death. After meeting a stronger tribe, a different change occurred in the hearts of these people. That is to say, if the Yanlong tribe did not kill them, they would be particularly loyal to the Yanlong tribe. Who says it's not? I'll go back and report to Wu first. After Yanhua finished speaking, she turned over on Feng Ying's back. Go ahead, just leave this place to me, and bring the good news back home quickly. Kangxi waved his hand to the sky. Pu-chi, Pu-chi. Yanhua rode the peak eagle towards the direction of the tribe. The corners of her mouth kept rising, and her mood became particularly good. More than an hour later, Niujiao Niang landed in front of the square of Yong'an building. Subai had been waiting in the square for a long time. He heard the explosion in the forest and went downstairs. Yan Jiao was also waiting anxiously beside him, and many people in the tribe also knew what happened. The same goes for other tribes. What surprised them was the violent explosion. Aren't they thinking about war? Why is there such a violent noise? Everything confused them. It must be good news. I see you look so happy, Subai asked with the corners of his mouth raised. He was actually not nervous, because he could predict what the result would be. Even if it was a little bumpy in the future, the Yanlong tribe would still go smoothly. Because the Yanlong tribe had put in all the explosives this time. If you lose even like this, there is really nothing to say. And after investing all the explosives, Subai still has some back UPS, so even if the explosives cannot completely win, there are other ways to deal with it. Let the Yanlong tribe not lose. Woo, our tribe won. We won after the explosion, Yanhua said very excitedly. This was the first time she had ever seen a war won so quickly. When she heard her father talk about the war, it would last for several days. Especially when the two tribes had equal fighting strength, sometimes it is possible that it lasts for half a month. It has never happened before that a war has been directly resolved in more than half an hour, so the horn girl feels particularly unreal now, but this is really happening, so I feel very excited and shocked. Great, Wu, that tribe's threat to us has finally been lifted, and our tribe can develop better in the future, Yan Jiao also said very excitedly. He originally wanted to go to the front line to fight, but he thought that Subai's safety could only stay in the tribe. Mainly because Yan Jiao wanted to publicize the difficulty of this war, so that others only the tribe will admire the Yanlong tribe more. It will also pave the way for the unification of the entire kingdom in the future, but it is obvious that his goal has been achieved. Yes, from now on this continent will no longer have tribes that can threaten us, and from now on we can develop a society governed by the rule of law. Subai laughed heartily. He had been waiting for this day for a long time, almost 2 years. As for the people of other tribes, they were all stunned at this moment, as if a drop of water dropped into the boiling oil. The same as in the pot. The top leaders of the Yanlong tribe didn't pay much attention to the reactions of those people. They just wanted to celebrate properly now. Please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1220. When night falls, everywhere in the Yanlong tribe is brightly lit, and the brightness of the Noctiluca is no worse than that of a light bulb. What's more, the Yanlong tribe's street lamps have now been replaced by luminous insects, so it really looks like a city now. Today's tribe is also very lively. Several barbecue grills have been set up in the square, and a whole roasted suckling pig, roasted lamb, roasted cow, etc. are roasted on them. Anyway, it looks very lively. The Yanlong tribe has been raising cattle, sheep, and horses for a long time, and has already expanded the scale of breeding. Now there are several houses specially built for breeding not far from the tribe. The area is the size of several football fields. You can imagine how exaggerated it is. There were people singing and dancing everywhere, and it looked quite lively, Subai said with great satisfaction. He couldn't believe today's scene at all. Everything was a bit unreal. There were bright lights everywhere, and every household was very lively. The flat avenues and tall buildings were the same as before. No. The most important thing is that the Yanlong tribe has won. Now is the best time to celebrate. Wu, is our tribe moving towards a better future? Yanhua blinked her delicate red eyes. She was very nervous during the day. After all, it was her first time to take on such an important task. It would be fine if she usually found ferocious beasts or attacked a small tribe, but now she is facing such an important task. For a large tribe. That is, if something goes wrong with the horned lady, the entire plan will be very chaotic. Yes, our tribe will get better and better, Subai said very confidently. Then there are too many plans to be implemented, that is, urban reconstruction for each tribe. As well as expanding the scope of the tribe, starting to build cement houses and laying cement roads, and truly implement the legal system. In this way, society can be governed by law in the future. Also, Subai wants to promote a lot of talents. That is to say, he will implement meritocracy. Wu, what should we do with those people from the Dark Scorpion tribe? Shalan asked. Cat-eared girl and others did not go to the square to participate in the celebration. Instead, They stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows on the second floor of Yong'an building and looked outside. Of course, not celebrating does not mean that they are not excited. On the contrary, it is because they are too excited. I was too excited to participate because I was afraid that I would get carried away by playing too much. However, the chief, Kangxi and others were singing and dancing in the crowd, and the smiles on their faces proved everything. Make sure none of them are prepared warriors, right? Subai asked. No, they are all ordinary people, but they are all young people, all in their 20s and 30s. Shalan said immediately. After Yanhua brought those people back, Cat-eared Lady was responsible for handling the settlement of these people and checking whether there were any reserve soldiers among them. After all, the strength of the reserve soldiers is much stronger than ordinary people. If you are not careful, you can also cause damage to the Yanlong tribe. Let them settle down first. After yesterday's battle, they must have been frightened. Subai crossed his arms on his chest, looked at the lively scene outside and said, "Let them sign the contract after a while. From now on, they will be members of the Yanlong tribe." "Wu, do we really want to accept them into our tribe?" Yanhua asked curiously. "The most important thing is that the Dark Scorpion tribe is really bad. It's a bit strange for the Horn Girl to suddenly accept people from their tribe. They are innocent. After all, they are all following the Dark Scorpion tribe. You don't know what their tribe is doing. They are lucky to be able to get here smoothly and safely." Subai rubbed the Horn Girl's head and said gently, "What's more, our tribe is very short of labor now, and they are undoubtedly the best labor force. The reason why he is willing to accept people from that tribe is undoubtedly that the development of the Yanlong tribe will require a large number of people in the future. However, this group of people can be used as a favor by Subai, whether it is building houses or roads or agriculture. These people can all come in handy." "That's right. We still have a lot of roads to build. It's a good choice to let them build roads. After all, they are young people." Yanhua nodded in agreement. "Yes, young people are the greatest creativity, and young people are also the best labor force. With them, our tribe can develop faster," Subai said lightly. "Wu, you said before that after you solved the problem of the Dark Scorpion tribe, our tribe will change its name, right?" Shalan suddenly remembered this matter. "Starting from tomorrow, our Yanlong tribe will no longer be the Yanlong tribe, but Yong'an City," Subai said sonorously and forcefully. He had long wanted to change the name of the Yanlong tribe, but the name tribe was inevitably a bit too barbaric. Yong'an City was the name he had always thought of, and it was also let the Yanlong tribe move towards a better future. Yong'an City. The previous foreshadowing has been very good, and I think everyone will accept this name, Shalan said excitedly. The previous foreshadowing was that the Yanlong tribe could be better, and only by changing its name to the Yanlong tribe can we welcome a better future, etc. Anyway, it was just brainwashing among the major groups of people, although at the beginning everyone was still a little repulsive. However, after hearing about the origin of these goods from the Yanlong tribe, they also felt that it was very necessary to change the name. At the same time, it also had the meaning of following Subai and moving forward. This is because in the last point, all the people of the Yanlong tribe completely compromised, because only by following the current witches, their lives will get better and better. Then it is very reasonable to change the Yanlong tribe to Yong'an City, and it is best after solving the Dark Scorpion tribe time to change name. The name of the kingdom that was then established was called the Han Dynasty. From now on, Yong'an City would be the capital of the Han Dynasty, and other tribes would also change their names one after another. Subai raised the corner of his mouth and said. He didn't expect that everything would happen so quickly. At first, he just wanted to urbanize the Yanlong tribe. But due to the participation of other tribes and their changes in mentality, it is not difficult to establish a kingdom. He had also thought of the name of the Han Dynasty a few days ago. He felt that only this name was worthy of the future development of Yong'an City. Han Dynasty? What a nice name. Now that I think about it, the name of our previous tribe was really too common. Shalan flicked the cat's tail. Everyone will be very excited tomorrow. Yanhua can imagine what it will be like when she gives a speech tomorrow. After defeating the Dark Scorpion tribe yesterday, she said this morning that she would hold a speech conference after a day of celebration. We'll all know tomorrow. Subai smiled faintly. Please support and customize. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1221. The sunshine seems to be particularly good today. I don't know if it's because of everyone's psychological effects. Everyone in the Yanlong tribe felt that the air was particularly fresh today, and everyone woke up very early. Although everyone celebrated until midnight last night, it can be said that the celebration last night was really lively. Subai also woke up very early today. Standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window and watching the entire tribe, his mood became particularly good. He stretched out his arms and said, "Today will be a very meaningful day." Subai planned to announce to the people of the Yanlong tribe today the establishment of the Han Dynasty. Wu, the podium has been set up. We can go down after breakfast, Yu Ying said softly. Fox Ear Girl asked others to set up the podium last night, which was a space reserved in the celebration square. Okay, let's go. Subai stretched out his hand and said. Which? Yu Ying was stunned when she looked at the other person's outstretched hand. A blush appeared on her delicate face. She hesitated and stretched out her hand. Subai pulled the fox-eared girl and walked down the Yong'an building. Yanhua and others had already arrived. We have been waiting in the square for a long time. During the celebration last night, Yan Jiao told everyone that there would be a speech today, and the witch himself would give the speech. This is why everyone got up very early today. Now everyone gathered in front of Yong'an building and waited. The scene looked particularly lively. Which, the people of the Yanlong tribe shouted collectively. Subai stepped onto the podium and raised his hand to press down so that everyone could be quiet. The entire podium was not particularly big, only about 2 meters long, but the height was still high. It's quite high, with a total height of about 3 meters. Subai can be said to be looking down at everyone when he stands on it. There is something similar to a microphone set up in the middle. In fact, this is just a shell for amplification, and it is also opened by the system. Sign-in rewards. Wu looked particularly handsome today. Yanhua stood at the front and looked up at Subai. Niujiao Niang felt that her heart was beating very fast now. Looking back on the scenes in the past 2 years, she couldn't believe it now. Who says it isn't? Shalan also stood at the front, with only Subai's face in her delicate blue eyes. Yanjiao, Kangxi, Shahong, and others also stood at the front, all looking at Subai seriously. They all knew that something was going to be announced today, so they were very excited. The reason for giving this speech today was mainly for the ordinary people of the Yanlong tribe. Good morning to everyone from the Yanlong tribe. I am very happy that you can all gather here to listen to my speech today. Every word I say today is very important. Subai stood up straight, looked at everyone with a very serious expression, and his voice was very loud and magnetic. Which, the people of the Yanlong tribe shouted excitedly again. The reason why they are so excited is because from today on, the Yanlong tribe no longer has to be afraid, and it has even become the strongest tribe on this continent. People in our tribe no longer have to worry about being violated by others, we ourselves are the strongest. Subai shouted in a loud voice, raised his hand and continued, from today on, our Yanlong tribe has entered a new chapter. We are called the Han Dynasty, and the Yanlong tribe is called Yong'an City. From now on, everyone will be from the Han Dynasty. He launched into an impassioned speech that he had thought up the night before. For today's speech, Subai couldn't sleep at all last night. He tossed and turned in bed thinking about these speeches. He was thinking about how to say it so that everyone could hear it better and make everyone feel more empathetic. In the future, as long as you work hard, you will have food, shelter, and clothing. Hard work can change everything, and the building we have now will be yours in the future. Subai rolled up his sleeves, opened his hands, and continued excitedly, and as long as you have talents, you don't have to worry about where you can't put them to use. In the Han Dynasty, only talents were promoted. He specially wore a hanfu for today's speech. The black and gold hanfu looks particularly textured on his body. Since time travel to now, his physique has become stronger and stronger, and his physique is also very strong. Wearing the black and gold hanfu, the hanfu looks particularly majestic. Woo, as long as we are willing to work, can we all afford to live in concrete houses in the future? Woo, I can hum beautiful melodies. Can I find a job suitable for me in the Han Dynasty in the future? Woo, I also have a problem here. We, the whole family, don't know what work to do. Will the Han Dynasty assign work to us? Questions like this were constantly raised from the crowd, from the first few questions to dozens of questions later. Everyone was very curious and looking forward to Subai's answer. In fact, these questions were asked by people Yan Jiao had arranged in advance, and the people who asked the questions were all old men from the Yanlong tribe. Their loyalty to this tribe is very high. As soon as they heard that they were helping the witches manage the entire tribe, they immediately agreed. The problems you mentioned can all be solved. We will also make arrangements for those who don't know what to do. Those who work hard will receive generous rewards, and those who are talented will definitely find a suitable job. Subai took the trouble to answer everyone's questions, and answered every question very sonorously and effectively. This is because his answers slowly calmed down the hearts of some people who were originally uneasy. There were even some people with tearful eyes in the crowd, and they were all speechless with excitement. The most important thing is that the Yanlong tribe has changed so much now. From being unable to survive to being strong now, it is completely beyond their imagination. Which, the people of the Yanlong tribe once again shouted excitedly. When all our cement roads are laid, Yongan City will welcome people from all tribes. Subai opened his hands again. He also said these words to others. There were also people from other tribes listening to the speech today. They witnessed with their own eyes that the Yanlong tribe defeated the Dark Scorpion tribe and became the most powerful tribe in this continent. A strong tribe. That tribe was particularly excited when they heard about the Han Dynasty, because their tribe was also part of the Han Dynasty. Starting today, we will have 3 days of carnival to celebrate our Han Dynasty and our Yongan City. Subai finally ended in a cheerful tone. Yes, the Yanlong tribe's answer was surprisingly neat. Tap tap tap. Subai walked down the podium and breathed a sigh of relief. Today's speech can be said to be completed perfectly. Which, Shalan, Yanhua, and others immediately gathered around. They were also very excited when they heard what they heard below. It can be said that the girls have witnessed step by step until today. Nice to have you, Subai said with a smile. So do we, Yanhua and others responded with tears in their eyes. Season finale.